Hello everyone, AmyR here with Prairie Paper and Ink, and I lost no time in creating a couple of Halloween cards using a whole bunch of these new Simon Says stamp wafer dies that are Halloween themed. So I started with the Bear Tree Oval Collage, and when I'd shown this die it said how great it would be. It's part of the more spooky side of their release, but it would also work really well for Christmas cards, I think, if you die cut it from white. But of course, I wanted to do Halloween today. So I have two pieces of Canson XL watercolor paper that I've just taped down to a hardboard, and I made sure they were big enough to go to create a background for that oval die once I die cut the cardstock that'll go on top of it. So I've taped them both down, and then I'm using my Gansai Tambi watercolors, and I'm creating a couple of galaxy backgrounds. I had a bunch of people asking if I would do, any Halloween cards using galaxy backgrounds, and just galaxy backgrounds in general, because they're fun to make and they always look different. So this time I decided to do my background in Halloween colors, and it always looks like a hot mess. I just put down purple, orange, and green, and this time I made sure those colors weren't touching, because those, when they start mixing, they start creating some really muddy colors. So I put them down, made sure they were dry, added my black watercolor on top. I'm using a really big size 12 brush for this, and when I add my black watercolor, that's when it looks like an even hotter mess. It looks ugly, like so ugly. I also dipped in some of the gold Gansai Tambi while the black was still wet, because I just love it. If I was to redo this, I probably wouldn't add quite as much gold. I added a lot, but I was having fun with it. So let that kind of do its thing, and then let that layer completely dry. And then I took the white watercolor at the bottom of the palette, as well as this, it's like a shimmery, silvery pearl color. Mixed those together to do some of my splatter. And it's when you start adding the splatter that, it really starts making it look more like a galaxy. It really brings it all together. So I used this one first and created some really large splatter, as well as a little bit of finer splatter. A person could leave it at this, but I can't not use my Copic opaque white. It just creates the perfect splatter for just everything, not just galaxy backgrounds. You guys see me use it on pretty much every card I make, but it's so much more opaque. I just took that little tiny bit onto an acrylic block, added a bit of water, and then I'm going to splatter that onto the background. And again, in real life, you can really see the difference. Like, it created one, just a finer splatter, and two, it is just much more opaque. So I had let that first little white watercolor splatter dry, and then I added the Copic opaque white, and that finished off my background. So I let those dry, I trimmed them down a little bit, and then set them aside. And then I did a ton of die cutting. So I die cut some Simon Says slate gray cardstock with that Bear Tree Oval Collage die. And then I used the Spooky Spiderwebs die and Simon's Fog cardstock. And I'm going to adhere that corner web to my die cut piece here, just using little tiny dabs of multi-medium matte adhesive. You don't need very much of it. I just apply little dabs kind of to where the webs meet the strings, whatever you want to call it, I just add little dabs here and there, and it doesn't take much. And once the adhesive dries, which again doesn't take very long, it holds it all in place. So I put that one web in the corner, and then I decided to put the round web behind the tree. I just liked how that looked. And then I die cut some white cardstock with the Friendly Ghosts die. And I am popping up the two, the largest and the medium-sized one, with a little bit of foam tape. So, and I didn't want to go too far over onto that window there, because obviously I want to show that galaxy background. So I adhered those two, and then the little tiny one, I just put a bit more of that multimedia matte adhesive and just pressed that kind of onto the tree. And then I used another die. I used the Wiggly Spiders die. And the smallest one, I die cut them from black cardstock and adhered the smallest one over the web. And then I used the Flying Bats die, which is more of a border die, but I just took the bats from it and adhered 3 of those to the front of this. Then I flipped it over and used a generous amount of foam tape, putting it wherever I possibly could, because I just wanted to pop this up. Not super thick, but you could totally back this with acetate and immediately make a shaker card with it, and it would be so much fun. But for this, I just wanted to use the 1 layer of foam tape and just pop it up just to give it that little extra bit of dimension. And then after I pressed my Galaxy background into place, I'm putting more adhesive on the back of this with my ATG. And I'm going to press this onto my card front, which is white cardstock cut to 4 1/4 by 11 and scored at 5 1/2. So it's a top folding A2 size card. And then on the inside of the card, I had die cut some more black cardstock with the house on the horizon die. And I did think about it would look cute. You could back the house with some yellow cardstock, so, you know, it would be like glowing. But I decided to keep everything simple. I wanted to get these done and get them uploaded. And I just liked it actually with just the black on the white. And I die cut another web from the fog cardstock, so I added that. And then I added the second size little black spider there. And then as a final embellishment, I took my Wink of Stella. This is the white, and it does not show up on camera. Even in real life, it's very subtle. It has sparkle to it, but it's very hard to see. It basically needs direct light. So you could skip this step or use the regular Wink of Stella or a Spectrum Noir to get that more sparkle. But it gives it a little something that you can see more in real life. And that finished off my cards. So just quick and easy and fun, just some watercoloring and then a whole bunch of die cutting. As always, I will have the links below the video to my blog post with links to all the supplies used, so check that out below if you are interested. And I will see you all very soon in another video. Bye!